maybe the other player's just going to expand and lose.
Yeah, you can see right there, Oz is at 78% in the PvP matchup with Grubby being in the middle 40s. So
that's surprising.
Yeah, all right, Rob, why don't you introduce our players?
Sure. Down here in the lower left-hand corner on Daybreak, currently leading 1-0 in the series, this is Grubby. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, the newest member of Fnatic, playing as the Red Protoss, this is Oz.
Now, I want to know what Oz's mental state is right now after that first game. He picked Grubby for a reason.
And battered.
I'm sure the 20 Koreans here that were able to choose.
Yeah, you're right. That's a big thing. Like he
chose
wanted this
Grubby.
opponent.
Right.
Yeah. And lost game 1.
Exactly that.
Huh.
And I'm trying to think, Oz finished first in the Korean qualifiers, so he was in the 7th to 10th seed. Rob, why don't you go ahead and check that out real quick. But he got one of the first picks, and all of the Koreans, of course, are going to choose the foreigners first. That is just simply because they know that for the most part, the Korean players are just simply better. Their practice regimes are better and everything like that. So being down 1-0 right now to Grubby is not going to be a great spot for him. And imagine if Grubby takes this, man. Imagine what Grubby... In my eyes, if Grubby beats Oz right here, this tournament is a success. It really is. I mean, you're taking
That's it. That's all it takes.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, you will have gotten your money's worth. Forget about the supposed 20 hours of content or whatever. This is it right here.
I'm not saying for me personally. I'm saying for Grubby personally. Taking on a player like
Oz
yeah,
sure.
is no small feat. Let me clarify that. But I mean, that would if people are just actually purchasing a pass, tuning into this to see Grubby taking on Oz.
It's a good time to tune in, man.
It's a great time to tune in.
And really, I don't know, when does Violet versus Alicia happen? Because that's going to be interesting. So, like, up next, there's a chance that Grubby's going to have to play against Alicia next.
Right. And let's see here. That'll be going down.
2 more matches.
At the 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. time slot.
So, I mean, if Grubby wins this, this could very well be awesome preparation for him to play against Alicia as well.
Absolutely.
And we'll see. I mean, on the other side of the token, though, he could potentially have to play against Violet, and that's going to be drastically different. I've seen Grubby playing a whole lot of PvP recently in his practice.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, you can't really prepare for 2 matchups at once, at least not as heavily as we saw him preparing for PvP. But we'll see. I know that Grubby's got at least one other trick up his sleeve. I really want to see that heavy early Zealot aggression that we saw with just the single stalker.
Now, what is Oz up to here? He might be going for what Grubby just did. Still only on 1 gate. Grubby adding in that 2nd gate pretty early on. But it will not be that triple stalker rush. I do not believe. Well, it might actually time out to be that. But on a map like this, especially if Oz gets out 2 sentries, there's not going to be really okay.
Wow. Yep.
I saw the probe going down there, but it's PvP and didn't click in my brain that he had about
like when
there.
400 minerals disappear instantly.
Yeah. Well, on a map like
wild.
Daybreak, that's basically what I was getting to. It takes so long to get across this map that if Oz can scout properly, take out those pylons and take out those probes that could be putting him down, this really risky play and really greedy play is going to put him in such a great spot in this best of 3.
Yeah, if he's able to hold on to it. Now, Grubby, on the other hand, he's got Warp Gate on the way. He did push out 2 gate, so he's just pumping stalkers. And he's chrono boosting out his Warp Gate as well, and so there's only a few more seconds left on there. So this, I don't know. Because we're not going to see Warp Gate finished for Oz anyway, so Grubby could be in a comfortable spot if he starts getting those units headed over there immediately.
I love what Oz actually is doing right now. He's going for a delayed 4 gate, cutting probes early on to get that early Nexus down. And if Grubby doesn't do a huge amount of damage here at the start, we can see him getting blinked. Oz is going to surge so far ahead because of this early expansion. And the Nexus is done, but the probe count did suffer. But now you're going to see him catch up here, 20 to 26. We'll check on in that in just a little bit.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Almost getting that free Stalker kill there at just about no cost now. Oz is in a decent position. Oh, man. One of his units is caught behind that force field. Very nice pickoff from Grubby there. I thought that was actually going to put him in an awful spot.
Yeah. But
he recovered well. Well-placed force field. And now Oz is on the offensive.
Perfectly placed force field, gets overused a lot, but that was just that. And here's Oz's answer to that, attacking from 2 fronts. And Grubby, again with the perfect decision here, just falling back. He's going to force field off 1 Zealot, pull back his own so he doesn't lose it.
Man, just get free units.
And now he's going to get that free unit. A little bit of scouting there.
Oh! Is he going to see the Dark Shrine?
And will he see it here?
Yep.
Yes, he does. So that is a good spot for him. We see
the
Robotics Facility coming down immediately.
And I mean, he was able to see the HP, so he knows how long he's going to be safe for.
Yeah.
And now Grubby's got to be worried. Does he know about that natural? No.
He has no idea.
Oh man, this is Grubby like has to win with his next push.
Yeah, and he is on 4 gates. Blink has been started. You know, the DTs might not deal all that much damage, but what they will allow him to do is morph into an Archon and break up in the ramp.
Right, and then he could potentially just push up that way. We've seen that done before. It's super smart. Now, the Observer is going to be done a few seconds late, but, oh man, he may be able to kill that forward pylon. Oh, wow, and he abandons the idea of finishing that off there. So that means that he is going to be able to warp in those Dark Templar, but now it's just a little bit too late. He didn't have a forward pylon ready when the Dark Shrine finished, so he wasn't able to get that out as soon as he possibly could have. And now there's a lot of units up that ramp, and we're going to see the Observer coming in immediately, and he's got an Immortal to follow.
And Grubby has put down a Nexus of his own back home, but now popping in here, he does not see the Nexus, sees those 2 pylons though, so he's got to know. He's trying to save that DT so he can, of course, get that all-important Archon. Will we see Grubby try to blink up? He's only got 2 Stalkers that really will not deal all that much damage, and because of that, he is falling back, but Oz right now 70 to 53. Probe count 35 to 30. You can see Oz already taking the lead. Having those 2 early Nexus.
Yeah, man. Getting a base up in PvP, we can't say enough how crucial it is.
Right.
But I mean, Grubby able to respond, get down his own, but he's 22 food behind, man. Well, 20 now.
Observer out on the map here for Oz. The Observer of Grubby about to pop out in just a little bit. Already adding on some Immortals. The force right now for Oz is getting kind of crazy. Most likely we'll just stay on the Immortal tech and go for a 3 or 4 Immortal push off of this huge gateway. Right now only at 4. He'll probably add on a couple more though before that attack actually begins.
Now we have out here, Grubby's trying to maintain what map control he can, but I mean, that's only because Oz is letting him, right? Like Oz has enough units that he could actually just crush through the center at any moment. And when is the right time to start thinking about Game 3 in Grubby's head?
Well, I mean, the right time is when you say GG or your opponent. To be honest, you never want to think that far ahead in the game. If you do, you start to second guess what you're doing in this match. And he's a top level player in the sense that he's been in so many championships in Warcraft 3 that he knows not to think ahead. He knows to stay in this game both mentally and never really count himself out until the very, very end, which is why he's a champion, to be honest.
Well, he's certainly vying for a championship here, although recently he performed extremely well at the Netherlands Nationals for the World Championship Series.
Yeah.
Taking home that first place.
Indeed, that was the same day that we broadcast him qualifying for this tournament.
Man, he was in 2 places, playing 2 tournaments at once in one day.
Yeah, he's all over the place. Here's the Observer of Oz, scouts out what his opponent is doing. 107 to 95 right now. Robotics Facility being added on. He did not decide to move out with those Immortals. He's going to go straight up to Colossus Tech, and I feel like this is where Grubby is pretty comfortable with. He's going to have his Colossus out a little bit early. And in Colossus vs. Colossus Wars, it's a battle that Grubby can definitely win. Even at this stage in the game, I mean, look at the supplies. They're very, very even at this point. And Grubby's even going to take a 3rd base, it looks like.
Wow. Talk about taking risks to get ahead.
Yeah.
Now, if that's both of their first Colossus, Grubby's even a little bit ahead there, like you said, and his Thermal Lance as well. So this game has just about evened up. Wow. Oh, man. Oh, no. That Dark Templar is not long for this world. Oh, will he take down a Zealot with him? No. Is that 1 H? Is there 1 HP on that Zealot?
2.
Okay.
One more swipe regardless. Nexus being put down. The Observer scouting out that probe, and with that, the Blink Stalkers are going across the map. That one will not make it back. And here comes the Nexus for Grubby, actually later than his opponent.
I just assumed that Grubby put down the Nexus sooner, but that didn't happen.
It's pretty interesting. I actually had the pleasure of casting the Korean qualifiers last week with Grubby, and he had a very smart statement here. But let me hold that for 1 second, because I think Grubby's going to decide to push out here and force these units back.
At least forcing a blink there, yeah. Oz is going to be forced into a retreat, but let's hear that quote.
So
it gets,
gets another
ouch.
Stalker.
Nice.
Good little blink, but Grubby was basically saying as StarCraft gets better, that the better player is going to be the one that can get away with the risk. That the best players in the world are greedy, and players that never really take risks but are still good, you don't see them winning championships. You see players like the MKPs, the MMAs, the DRGs, basically all acronym players for some reason, just winning every tournament because they take these risks in these games, and they get away with it because they play so much, and they know exactly what they need to do to be able to hold off something.
Clearly, to truly transcend, you must remove yourself from your identity.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Nesty actually fell back. If he would have just been in, who knows?
Oh, man.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
I don't know if there's a correlation to the furthest possible. Nah, I mean, DRG's doing well, so I guess never mind.
It's true. It's true. Well, both players not really doing a whole lot here. We can see the Gravitic boosters going down for Grubby. I'd love to see some drop play come into play here. Already getting double upgrades. His opponent is, I think, just now getting +1 there. But with those double upgrades, it's going to put Grubby in a great spot. Thinking on that pylon, where are the cannons going down? We saw a couple cannons, I think one over here in the natural and one at the third base. Here's a big blink forward. Grubby seeing his opponent's army and does not want to fight that. Already at 4 Colossi. Both players producing 2 at a time.
2 more.
But Stargate being added for Grubby. If he can get some Void Rays in his army, that is going to put him in the spot that he really wants to be. 5-3 here, Colossus count.
Yeah, and really, there's not enough Stalkers out there either. Like, if Grubby gets into an engagement and he's able to focus fire down those Stalkers, Grubby is going to be in a prime spot. Grubby, keeping eyes everywhere on the map, all at once. Now, I also wanted to talk briefly about where that cannon placement, right? As the game grows and as you have more and more bases, you don't want to be forced to have a ton of observers in places, right? And those DTs could have made such a bigger difference. Oh man, and now that Twilight Council is done, so we see Oz kind of pushing up there a little mindlessly, losing one of his Stalkers. But now that the Twilight Council is done, we see Oz adding Archons to his army to lead the charge. You really just need a couple of them as long as you're able to crush through a few of those force fields and force an engagement without endangering your Colossi.
Right.
That's
and
the money.
I think Oz is going to try to put in a 4th base here and starve his opponent out, but I'm waiting for Grubby to start Void Ray production, but no, Grubby's going for the mothership, and I actually saw this against the game Grubby against Hasuops in the winter qualifiers where he was able to take it, but I'm not sure if Oz is going to allow him to do that, as right now there's going to be a huge fight.
Ooh, wow, one of those Colossi going down to about half HP remaining, and now we see those Immortals just about leading that charge. A small amount of Oz's flank was trying to deal some damage over there. Oh, yes. What a beautiful camera angle.
And a very poor engagement here for Grubby. Can spell doom, but he's doing a pretty good job spreading out his units to do a quick shot at the unit tab. Keep an eye on that. 5-7. Grubby is in the lead right now. Is he going to actually take this game? Oz is losing everything.
It's looking really good
117 to 132. Still 7 Colossi remain for Grubby. I can't believe what we're seeing here.
Well, Oz went in there. He pretty much sacked half of his army to try to kill those probes in the natural, I think, is what happened. And now we see Grubby with the defensive warp in there. So Oz was in a really awkward spot. Like, we talked a little bit about that positioning. Now, Grubby was able to establish a pretty solid concave initially, but he got his Zealots to engage on top of Oz's Immortals.
Right. You know, I want to go back and look at that fight, actually, after this replay. I want to see, from the normal camera view, what really went down there. As I was just paying attention to the Colossus count, and Grubby did a great job singling out the Colossus of Oz. Oh, all these probes are going to get decimated here. I do not know if Oz is going to be able to hold this, as he simply does not have enough. How many probes is he up to?
Let's
still
see.
Pretty even count.
There's a lot of Immortals over there. Let's see if he tries to focus down those Colossi.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, I mean, all of the Colossi could potentially wow, not when you have that many.
Yeah, he had 7 Colossi after that fight. It's not going to matter much. He's even... Oh, he's dancing him on Oz. Grubby with a little diss there after being picked as the easy foreigner win. But here's Grubby 2-0ing Oz right now. The mothership is about to pop out.
Oh, yeah, because Oz was a super high seed.
Oh, my God.
He had
Grubby
a lot of
just
choices, chose him, and there we have. Oz is forced to tap out, and Grubby takes the win. 2-0.
Grubby just beat Oz, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have made a bet or something. I feel like I could
the odds
be rich
must have
right
been
now.
So sick.
Yeah. let me jump into that replay real quick and fast forward. But I can't believe that Grubby just beat Oz. Oz maybe underestimated.
Armor, man. It's because Grubby got an armor upgrade.
He did have the upgrades, yeah.
I don't know, and I'm not sure if Oz also got his by that time. But
I don't think he. I think +2 finished for Grubby right before that fight. Let me fast forward in this replay, and you guys can enjoy the very annoying sounds here. I'll get to a very quiet portion of the map, but Grubby beat Oz 2-0, man. I need to make sure that everyone.
Sorry,
knows
what?
That.
Who? Grubby beat who?
I want to know also over on the mainstream right now, if you are using the
quad view.
The quad view, you can actually be watching the main match, which is Huck going up against Sleep. Sleep, the player that knocked Huck out in the online qualifiers.
Well, now Sleep chose Huck, right?
Yes, because he beat him in the qualifiers.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that was a thing where like Huck was actually one of the last decisions made.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like nobody wanted to play against him.
He just beat Oz, man.
Yeah. 2-0, man. Well, I mean, I was ready to say like, I'm surprised that Grubby's like staying in the game. Yeah, what do you know? When do you think about Game 3? And it was like, Grubby doesn't think about Game 3.
I think it all comes down to, like you said, the armor upgrades as well as that positioning in the last fight, and we are almost approaching that time. Grubby also always scouted with his Blink Stalkers. He knew exactly.
Oh, this is going to be it.
Where the mothership, or excuse me, the fleet beacon was thrown down. But I think here in a couple seconds, he sends in a small little force.
Yeah, and then he's going to split around. Okay. So like slow it. Yeah.
Okay.
See,
take a look at this.
I think what happens here is that essentially we're going to see those Colossus a little overexposed.
So upgrade-wise, 0-1 to 1-1.
Now look where the Zealots are going.
Well, the Zealots also split up here and got destroyed.
So he lost a large chunk of his Zealots in here. His only 4 Zealots, his only Zealots in this army, go straight to the probe line. And now we can see where are those Immortals? Completely exposed on the upper side there. Only protected by a couple Colossi.
Oh,
and like you're losing money units that whole time. Like very expensive units.
Oz just simply wasn't paying attention. That's all it was. I mean, look right here. You can see the bottom Colossi. All they were focusing on were, I believe, these Zealots coming down the ramp. As here comes Grubby moving in. Uses his Blink Stalkers to take the first couple of swipes. And look right there.
Such a sick response by Grubby. Like warping those in. And then it almost looked like he responded immediately. As soon as he saw a couple of those attacks go onto the Zealots, that he just moved in the rest of his army.
Holy crap. Well, there you have it, guys. Grubby 2-0ing Oz.
But, I mean, even looking at this, like, even at this point in the fight, Oz still has a significant supply, like at least a little bit of a supply lead. He's also crushing his third, but then all of these units die without killing anything.
Yeah, and Grubby still had all of his Colossus up, so congrats to Grubby. Coming up here is going to be Thorzane versus Anori. Can another foreigner take out a Korean? We will find out in just a little bit, guys. Don't go anywhere. We got more matches coming up later.